2026 is going to be an awesome year. We got some pretty cool stuff coming up. First off, we got Foundations of Recovery. This is our flagship program. We're starting it in January.
This is for anyone, man, woman, or couple who wants to come and reclaim their heart from shame, trauma, and betrayal. We start off with an education on all sorts of principles, give you the common language. We feed you from a fire hose in terms of all things recovery.
It is such a great start to recovery. And we get at the roots of things, Tyler. This isn't like any other program. Like, this is our healing journey in process, and Foundations is where we begin.
If you look at the value that you're getting there to kick off a good recovery with all of the right education, all of the right language, and a team to get you started while also being directed by Brannon and myself through the whole process, what a deal.
So if you're interested, if you're struggling, if you've been wanting to do something for a long time, jump into this. This only comes around every so often, and we would love to have you there.
Click the link in the description to sign up for it. And to make it even sweeter, we're also including a raffle for a free pass to the Radiant Dawn retreat. Anyone who signs up for Foundations will be added to the raffle for that free Radiant Dawn pass. If you're a man and you sign up for Foundations, your name still gets entered, and you can give that pass away if you win it to any woman that you want to.
So what you're saying, Tyler, is if you sign up and participate in Foundations, you could possibly go to Radiant Dawn for free?
That's exactly what I'm saying, which is crazy because Foundations by itself is already an insane value.
Man, I sound so salesy. But it actually is awesome. So come to Foundations. And even if you don't come to Foundations, sign up for Radiant Dawn. It's beyond therapy, the best healing experiences that you can have.
Click the link below and come join us.
Why should I work on me before I worry about we?
Welcome to the Therapy Brothers podcast.
I'm Brannon.
I'm Tyler.
We're brothers.
We're therapists.
And we know recovery.
Bring your stories, your questions, your successes with real recovery.
Hey, Tyler, you ready to have some hard conversations?
Let's do it.
Let the Therapy Brothers podcast begin.
Brannon, how you doing, man?
I'm okay. I've had this lingering thing, like I couldn't talk for a few days, and now it's just not going away.
It's like, it takes so long. I think I just barely picked it up. We were down at family all weekend long. We had our aunt and uncle come home from an LDS church mission, so we got to go down and see everyone. It was like a little mini family reunion again. And I wonder if we turned it into a super spreader event.
This time of year, I think everything's a super spreader event.
It seems like everybody gets sick. I know my daughter's been sick for like 3 weeks, and then I just woke up this morning. So both of us have altered voices today.
Yeah. So, it's kind of raspy and cool. So, yeah, nice.
I don't know if it's cool.
Yeah, I gotta say, down in Farron, they can make some Mexican food.
Oh, that was good stuff.
I mean, the tamales and the chili verde, and
that was.
It was like I felt like I was in Puebla or something. Like, holy cow!
Yeah, it was good. It was great. Great weekend.
Yeah. So, well, should we get into the topic at hand, Tyler?
Yeah, this is something. This is something that's actually been pretty prominent. We were just talking about this, Brannon. For both of us, without realizing it, we've both been running into this topic quite a bit in our own practice. So we figured we might as well just do an episode on it.
Yeah, I do this all the time, but I had a couple session recently where they came in and they were saying, we've done so much couples work. We've been to this intensive, and we've been to couples therapy for years, and we've done this. And as they're digging in this session, and I'm kind of, conceptualizing the case and analyzing what's going on, it's very apparent that individually, both of them are not very healthy human beings, emotionally and spiritually. And so, here they are telling me, I've done all this work as a couple. And really their question to me was, what now, Brannon? Like, why isn't our couples work working? And to me, it's obvious to me as to why it's not working. They're actually shooting at the wrong target, and they have been for a long, long time. And they've spent a lot of time and a lot of money trying to get something out of something that can't give it to them.
Right.
Um, and I know you've seen this a lot too, Tyler, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like you can sense and feel the frustration in your clients because you see them putting in time and energy and effort and work and money into like trying to get things better. But I like what you said there, that sometimes it feels like that they're shooting at the wrong target for the station that they're at in their own process or their own recovery. And so that's where the frustration comes in, is because it's not that there's a lack of effort or even a lack of desire. It's a lack of putting the focus on the things that are actually maybe the most important in the space that you're currently in.
But Tyler, one of the reasons why I think the focus gets put on the relationship is in some ways what happens is it's a lot easier to put the focus on, in quotation marks I say the relationship, but really what we're talking about is the other person. Is it, and even seemingly humble people can look like they're willing to do couples work and still be avoidant to doing their own individual work and take their own accountability for the process of healing, and waiting on their partner to make the changes that they need to make so that they can be happy as a couple. Um, and if I can blame our strife and struggle and whatever on the relationship or on the partner, then I don't have to do that really deep, hard, sometimes brutal work on myself.
The inward look, the inward wrestle that actually ends up usually creating the space for something new inside of my relationships. That's the hard
Yeah.
part. And so when you were saying like earlier that idea of the wrong target, I think there's several wrong targets that we shoot at that kind of are under the umbrella of relationship too soon. One of them is
Uh-huh.
the addiction itself. If that addiction was just gone, then we'd be all better,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like,
If I can
well,
get,
that
well, I've gotten sobriety. What the heck?
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
I'm sober. Like, why can't we like, well, you're sober, but have you changed all the things you use to protect your addiction? Are you honest? Are you empathetic? Are you shame resilient?
A dry drunk still has an attachment disorder.
Right, because it's all about attachment, right? And
Yeah.
so or sometimes it's the other way around, where the partner who doesn't have the addiction is going, as soon as they're sober, then it should be all better too. And it's like, actually, sobriety is a necessary piece, but that's not even what's going to go on in your marriage work afterwards. Like,
It is.
there's
It
going to
is.
be a ton of work.
We love sobriety, Tyler. It's great, right? We
Yeah.
love it. It's wonderful. It's great, and it is like so often the wrong target. It's so often way too emphasized, way too important. It's not the end all be all. It doesn't solve relationship problems. It's a step. It's important. It's but it is not the thing. It's not the thing to work on. Like
That's right.
when I say I don't mean to, not the thing to work on. You want to work on being sober. That's
You need
important.
you need to work on being sober.
But it's not the actual problem. It's not the actual thing that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, for most people, it's the other deeper issues, all of those unhealthy characteristics that we've adopted to protect our addiction over the years, and all of those unhealthy sort of patterns in our lives that have caused us to not have the right kinds of secure, attachment in our relationships. Another target that's wrong, and you mentioned this one already, Brandon, is that when you get a couple, and I know what your answer will be to this. When you get a couple come in for couples therapy, and I put that in quotes, and you start to ask them questions, and both of them say, "My partner needs to change this, 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 and this. My partner
Mm-hmm.
needs to change this, 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 and this, and this." What's going to happen to that couples counseling?
Oh, it starts to become like all kinds of things happen. Splitting. They try to get the therapist to side with them. They want just validation of how horrible the other person is. It's drama. It's the drama triangle. They try to get the therapist to engage as the caretaker for them while they play the victim or persecute their partner. And it does not help. It doesn't get better. And when they come in and they say that, Tyler, what they're not saying is, I actually want therapy. I actually want to do my work. What they're saying is, I want validation for the pain of being in a relationship with them because they suck and
Yeah.
they need to change so then I can be happy. They're also saying, I'm powerless and that person has my power.
That's it. We're
Right.
both giving our power away to one another. So let's work on our marriage. As
Yeah.
soon as you do this, then we can have a good marriage. And they're saying, well, as soon
Right.
as you do this, we can have a good marriage. And what that fosters, and you said this, it's the drama triangle, or in like the book, The Anatomy of Peace, there's something called the collusion diagram, which is where you get in a pattern with somebody where it almost becomes more important to be right and validated than it does to be effective in what you actually want. So a
Yeah.
couple comes in and they're telling you as the therapist, hey, we really want more connection in our relationship, but they're in the collusion diagram. What they're really saying is, as soon as my partner validates all of my pain and changes everything, then we'll have a good marriage.
Yep.
And so it's almost like in therapy you're all shooting at the wrong target anyway, because the therapist is going to say, how do we get real connection happening again? How do we get you guys both working towards helping things go right rather than being a victim to the circumstance and waiting for somebody else to change it for you?
Tyler's interesting. I'm thinking about politics for a second here. Like, I'm on a text thread with two buddies, and they're on each end of the spectrum when it comes to politics, and it's interesting because it's like when COVID happened, the guy that hated Trump was like almost wanting people to die of COVID to make Trump look bad.
Yeah.
And right now, as Biden's president, like the other guy on the other side is like wanting more people to come over the border and whatever to make Biden look bad. And what are we missing here? We're missing like the actual important thing.
Humanity.
Yeah. Like what's actually good for us and humanity. But they're so locked in needing to be right and needing to win that they can't see humanity. They can't see the greater good. And the reality is if they're that locked in there, and I'm talking couples or politics or whatever, then something's going on inside of them. Something's going on personally that they really need to take a hard look at themselves to say like, okay, like how am I getting stuck in this? How am I giving my power away? Why am I giving my power away? And if they can't do that inner person, and it's so hard to do because they're so locked in that victim stance, right? They're so justified to be there,
Yeah.
that it's so hard to do. So when they come into a good therapist like you, Tyler, and they're like, hey, like, let's really turn my partner into a monster here. Like, look, I'm going to tell you how horrible they are this way, that way, and every which way. It's tricky, isn't it? Because they're basically saying, Tyler, I have some pre-contemplation going on, or I'll just say a lack of motivation going on to actually do my own work. But I want to do quotation marks therapy with you to make things better.
Yeah, right. Well, and to be fair, like if you've been in a relationship where there has been some breach of trust or there's been some kind of trauma, that shakes the foundation, right, in terms of secure attachment. And so the natural tendency is to go, well, if we could fix our attachment, then we could feel safe again and feel good enough again. So it's easy to see where the natural tendency is to go there. It's just that it doesn't seem to work that way as well as when you get two people who come into the office and say, hey, look, we've had some serious breakdowns. We realize that there's a lot to get through. In fact, we're probably going to have some hard conversations about resentments that we hold on to or think ways that we've been hurt before. But we genuinely actually want our relationship to go right. When that's the primary focus, then it funnels down to another principle, which is you have two people now who are willing to take accountability for things going right rather than waiting for the other person to take accountability for things to go right.
Can I give an example here with betrayal? Because it's so tricky. Is accountability is the way to some healing, and because accountability is knowing what your power is and stepping into what you can create. And so, like, if I get cheated on, like, reality is real. Reality is like, we're not saying that painful things aren't painful. So like if my spouse cheated on me,
It's devastating.
my spouse cheated on me, that hurts. That's hard. That's not okay. And why would she do that? That hurts, right? That's okay to have those feelings. It's that painful reality, right? And this is where accountability comes into play, is that I have a choice with whatever the reality is to decide what I do with that reality. And so it's not okay that that happened. It's not okay that I'm hurt, but now I have a choice. And we give up our power and our accountability when we give away our choice. And it looks like this. If she cheated on me and I'm hurt and it doesn't work for me, and I say, well, you better do all this recovery work and you better do this, that, and whatever so that I can be happy, I've given away my power.
My power.
If I say, oh, it's fine, like I don't care, I'm just going to pretend like that didn't happen and I trust that you'll never do it again and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just kind of avoiding the reality of it, I've given away my power. When I'm able to say, here's what hurts, here's my truth, here's what works for me and what doesn't, and I need to stay in alignment with me and my integrity here and figure out how to have compassion and love and understanding for you as I go through this, now you're in your power. But to do that takes strength.
Yes.
Right?
That's why the whole topic is why to work on me before we work on we, because that's the pinch point that I see so many couples come to is one or both. Sometimes it's both in the relationship. They err too much on either side of what you just described. Like, oh, I better forgive and forget. He'll never do it again. I trust him. Yeah. Denial. Or like, he better hurry and do all those things so he can fix me. Right. Since he hurt me, he has to be the one to fix me, which I wish it worked that way, but it just doesn't work that way. The middle ground is that I have to grow into a spot where I know who I am enough to protect my values enough. And this is the hardest part, and be willing to have things go the way that I might not want them to for the sake of protecting my values.
Yeah.
And too many people, consequences are. Yeah. Too many people get to that edge and go, like, I think we just talked to somebody a couple of weeks ago that it felt in like a similar situation where they've been doing recovery for a very, very long time. And the writing is kind of on the wall that the partner doesn't really want recovery. But she doesn't really want to leave the relationship. Right. But now I'm going to be miserable because my partner doesn't want recovery and won't choose me.
So I'll sacrifice myself.
I'd rather stay there than have to confront the reality that maybe I need to do something different for my values. Right. Because that's scary. That leads me into a whole new world that I don't know what's going to happen there. It's a new frontier.
But Tyler, it's easy to stay stuck on the part of he sucks. Like he sucks, than it is to say you need to step into your strength and do your work so you can do this hard stuff, because it might lead to divorce. It might lead to being out of that relationship. But you're not even willing to do that. Like you're not even, he holds the cards because you're held hostage because you're not strong enough to stay in those values of yours. Right. And that's a hard conversation to have with somebody.
Well, especially if you haven't done the internal work to actually be convicted and self-assured in who you are and what your values actually are to begin with.
Yeah.
Right. That's why that individual work is so vitally important, is that it actually creates space to invite something new inside of the relationship that you're in. And my experience is this, Brannon, that when two people will actually come to the table and say, how do I keep my power? And how do I keep my power? A partnership comes together and they say, what do I need to take accountability for things to go right here? If you get two people who are both willing to do that, they go through a transformation and it invites new space, and the relationship moves to a new level that it's never been before. It becomes an invitation for growth together. And that's the beauty of what marriage is when you have two people operating that way. Most of the time, people's values overlap well enough that they can actually, if they'll actually own their own values, they can move forward together.
They can be compatible.
Yeah. Most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time that happens to be the case. Right. But it takes an element of faith to actually do that, knowing that the other person may or may not end up doing their own side of their own work.
Tyler, the equation is quite simple. I want to come back to what you just said there at the end about faith. The equation is quite simple. If I want intimacy and I want fulfillment in my relationship, then I need trust. Trust is built upon honesty. Honesty is authenticity. So if I'm selling out of fear and I'm manipulating a situation because I'm afraid and I can't show up honest in that relationship, then it stunts my ability to get deeper and more intimate in my relationship. If both partners can show up more authentic, both partners can know each other more, both partners can see each other more, connect deeper, and have better intimacy. So if fear is driving the show for me to be in this relationship and I'm manipulating all around me, I am absolutely not supporting that relationship. So the stronger I am to be authentic and step into my power and my integrity and my truths, the better chance I have to create a healthy relationship. A healthy relationship is a consequence or a result of two healthy people coming together and showing up interdependently and honestly in that relationship.
Yeah, that's
right?
really good. I want to make this kind of concrete with what you just said, Brannon, because what you just said I think is like spot on, but I don't know that a lot of our listeners are actually going to hear what you said. So could I maybe just use an example or two of the principle you just said, and you can correct me if
Yeah.
I'm wrong, okay? So I'm sorry, I'm probably going to sneeze here in just a second.
Oh, you're fine. I'm glad we do this remotely.
Yeah, no kidding. That's the nice thing is when it's remote, you can still come into your own office and not get anybody else sick.
Right.
So, um, okay, so this principle, and here's a couple of ways that I see the principle. You're talking about honesty, and when people hear that, they're like, "Yeah, like if I'm the one who's done like the betraying, I'm seen as a liar, probably because I've had a pattern of hiding things, omitting things, not telling things. Like that's one part of honesty. But what you're really getting at, Brandon, with honesty is awareness of self
Yeah.
and owning self,
Yeah.
right?
Deeper honesty is what I'm
So,
talking about.
so if I'm sitting, and here's a couple of ways that this goes. If I'm the one who's done the betraying, and I've got my partner who now I've hurt coming to me and saying, "You need to do this and this and this and this and this for me to be all better." And some of those things line up with my values. And I go, yeah, of course I'm going to do those things. I'm going to work on those things. That's the kind of person I want to be. But then they throw in something else that's like, and I need you, and I also need you to make sure that every morning you go down to Walmart for an hour with a sign on your chest that says I'm a cheater, right? Like if you say yes to that, you're dishonest.
Right.
Because you wouldn't be helping the relationship because you'd be trying to please and yet going against your own value system, which means you wouldn't be trustworthy either.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And on the flip
Yep.
side, the other way that works is like if you're the one who's been betrayed and you're saying like, it's totally okay. Everything's fine. I forgive you. Let's just move forward. Don't leave me. Like you're not living with honesty either,
You're
which
not
means
honest.
you're going to hit a wall in your relationship. Or it might go the other way, which is the Cinderella stepmother syndrome of like do this and then 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 I think one of our callers a couple of weeks ago, and then you get a vasectomy and then you do this 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 and then maybe I'll lean back in and then maybe I'll trust you.
Right.
And then when you get to that point and they're still miserable, they're like, uh-oh, like why don't I trust him yet? And it's like
because he's just being compliant.
Because he was
He's not being
compliant and he
honest.
wasn't honest and he wasn't boundaried, but you also weren't willing to take accountability to say, I have wounds inside that whether I like it or not, I'm responsible to do the healing for those wounds. And maybe my partner can help me with that. But at the end of the day, whether it was fair or not, that's on me to have to figure that out.
Right.
And when somebody does that, and I know this is hard. I know a lot of our people listening right now are hearing that and going, Tyler, oh, like that, I cringe over that. It's like, but freedom is on the other side of that. Freedom is on the
Yes.
other side of like, hey, I'm responsible to heal. And that might mean I have to be authentic with my partner. And yeah, I'm still going to say these things. When you do these things, it helps rebuild trust. Yes.
Right. Right.
But I'm still responsible for my own healing.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I want to give an example that goes along with this. So, and I think this is one, maybe I'll get extreme here a little bit, but maybe not. So like sex is a interesting one. Let's say there's a partner with high libido that wants to have sex every day. And let's say there's and married to a partner with low libido that wants to have sex every 2 weeks, right? Um, so you take a couple like this, and you can with sex, it's so vulnerable. There's so much intimacy there. I mean, so oftentimes it's called intimacy, but it's not. Sex isn't intimacy. Here's the thing: is it okay for that person that wants to have sex every day to say that they want to have sex every day?
Absolutely. It's honest.
Is it okay for the person who doesn't want to have sex every day to say they don't want to have sex
Absolutely.
and
It's
to
honest.
actually not have sex?
Yes.
Okay, so the strength, really what we're looking for in it to have a really good relationship is strength. And the strength is on both ends of this honesty. It's I can hear, let's say I'm the low desire partner, right? I can hear you every day that you ask me to have sex, and I can see your humanity, and I can love you, and I cannot take that on and feel that guilt and sacrifice myself and let you have sex with me when really I don't want to have sex, right? So I can both hear you and understand where you're at, but I can both be honest with you about where I'm at and who I am. Do you see the strength that it takes? I can tolerate your discomfort. I'm strong enough that I can be authentic despite you being uncomfortable. And I can care about your discomfort and I
Yeah.
can stay authentic, right?
Yes.
That now there's all kinds of things that come in and undermine somebody being that strong. Their shame, their fear, their guilt, their shoulds come in and say, no, you better give in. You better sacrifice yourself here, sacrifice yourself there, not be honest here. And when you start to give in, it fractures yourself. It starts to wear you down, and then it destroys a healthy relationship. Right.
That's right. Yeah. And that example, Brannon, the other way around of that is like if I'm the higher desire partner, if I try to kill my desire, or if I say, no, I don't have that desire,
And pretend
then
it's not there.
then I'm also being dishonest. And I need to be able to hold the discomfort of, hey, I can see my partner. I'm not going to judge my partner. I'm going to tell them they're broken or bad or wrong. But it's okay that I have the drive, and I'm okay to stay in the discomfort of not having sex every day, and I can still see you and love you. And I'm okay to have you maybe have your own wrestle with like feeling like, oh man, like yeah, you can have that wrestle, and I'm here for you, and I see that that's true, and I don't want to place it on you. I'm just being honest with you,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yes. The intimacy, Tyler, exists. And this is where people get it wrong. The intimacy exists when both those partners can show up authentic and honest and hear and understand their partner, and their partner feels seen and known and loved, not because they gave in and have had sex or vice versa. It's because, hey, like I talk about who I am with my libido and my desires and who I am, and you talk about who you are, and I see you and I love you and I respect you and I honor you, but I can still be me. And when that space is there, that's where intimacy exists, right?
And interestingly enough, that's also a big place where trust continues to grow and form itself too. It's
Exactly.
like if I like if my partner knows that she can trust me to have my drives, to be honest about those drives, to not need to consume her and respect where she's at the same time and really work to understand her position. If I'm doing all of those things, like that's trust, trust, trust,
Trust,
trust. And if
trust,
she's doing the same thing
love.
back and saying, "Hey, I see you," like, and you're not bad because you're driven like that, I'm also not going to be able to engage the way that you'd want me to all the time for these reasons. I hope you can understand that, but I really want you to know that I see you too, and I understand you. Trust, trust, trust. And both of us might not be totally happy about that, but there's still trust being built inside of it when there's that honesty
and love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Built on top of that.
And when you said the word intimacy, Brannon, we need to be very clear with that because everyone uses the word intimacy as if it means sex, and it doesn't.
No.
Sex is under the umbrella of overall intimacy, but intimacy is connection and knowing and support and, secure attachment. That's intimacy. And sex is one avenue that has the potential to help build the overall umbrella of intimacy.
So here's your definition right there, Tyler. And then a couple comes in and they're like, they suck, fix them. I'm not going to do my own work. I'm not going to take accountability, but fix them. That is the opposite of going in the direction toward intimacy.
Like
it's not going to happen. You use the word faith, Tyler, and I just want to bring that up because I think it's critical and it's not talked about enough in terms of doing our own work and creating healthy relationships. To be honest and authentic in a relationship requires some faith, because if I'm honest and I could get rejected, my partner could leave me, then I'm gonna not be honest unless I have faith. And the faith is that if I step into truth, then whatever's gonna happen that's supposed to happen is gonna happen. God loves me. And as long as I'm stepping into truth, God loves me. And if that's the case, then when my partner says, hey, you dirty, rotten scoundrel, I can say something honest back and know that she could leave me, she could bounce, and I'm okay. And she's less likely to bounce. She's less likely to leave me if I'm practicing that faith and surrender and acceptance than if I'm trying to manipulate her back into the relationship, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that idea of faith, you attached a couple of the words to it, surrender and acceptance. That's part of what faith is faith says, okay, I hope that things turn out a certain way, and I'm going to work my very best towards that end, but I'm going to surrender the outcomes, and I'm going to focus on the inputs. And as long as I maintain my integrity, whatever the outcomes are actually the best possible outcomes because I kept my integrity. Now that's hard to wrap your head around. If I'm working towards saving a marriage, but deep inside I want to be connected, I want to be understood, I want to be seen, but I'm chasing down a marriage where I've got a partner who's chasing an addiction instead of working on a relationship with me, I'm in my lack of owning my own integrity and living with my sense of who I am. I'm wasting my time chasing down an outcome that will be far worse than if I stayed in my integrity, even if it meant having to end the relationship.
Yes.
And moving on to a new life inside of my integrity where I would line myself up with somebody who did have a similar value system.
Yep. I'm thinking of an episode we did just a little while back, and she was such a strong woman. And we were talking with her, and she's just like, well, I can't believe that I'm basically that I'm so stupid. Like, I know this isn't my truth. I know I'm not stepping into my values and my truths. And she was a strong woman. So for her, that was hard to hear that feedback that we were giving her. Do you remember this?
Yep. I remember the episode.
But the beauty of it, why I say she was a strong woman, Tyler, is because when you and I gave her that feedback, what did she do?
She actually said, you guys, like, it's clicking for me. That's right.
She heard
like
it.
She's like, I already know the answer.
Listened.
Like, I'm hearing the answer and I'm feeling the answer.
Right. So her integrity was right there, but she was sacrificing it. We just said, hey, like, this is what your truths are this, but you're acting this way. And she's like, yeah,
That's true.
See it.
Yeah.
Do you see the accountability there?
Yeah.
And that gives her a chance. That actually gives her relationship a better chance of survival.
100%.
I doubt it will survive. I hope it does, but it gives her relationship a much better chance.
It does. And ultimately it gives her life in the long run, the big picture, it gives her life the best possible outcomes.
Yep. Yep. So Tyler, if I was a client struggling in a marriage, and let's say I won't get into the details. The marriage is hard. It's just difficult. Things don't seem to be getting better. There's been addiction and betrayal and all that stuff going on. And I walk into your office, and I'm not even going to tell you what side I'm on of the fence with everything. And I walk into your office and I say, Tyler, just like I want things to get better. What do I do? What would you say?
I would first spend a little bit of time just practicing some empathy and understanding and trying to really get to the core of what they're actually feeling. And I'd
Okay.
spend a little bit of time understanding and validating that. And then I would move into some questions with them about, given the situation that you're,
Did I lose you, Tyler?
what are you going to do to help keep that heart at peace towards them?
Yeah. Okay. And that's hard for someone to hear. You cut out there for just a second, but I caught the last end. What are you gonna do to do your work to make sure you can keep your heart at peace? That's a
Towards the other
hard thing to
person.
hear. Yeah.
Towards
Um,
helping things go right. Like, don't lose the forest from the trees. Like, you're in my office and you're wanting to have a better relationship. The best way to have a best relationship is for you to be an authentic and genuine person, right? And
yep.
an authentic, genuine, or an equally sacred person to myself, and
Tyler, I don't know if you're cutting out or I'm cutting out, but I can't hear you.
to do to value both sides of that sacredness.
I li- I got you started cutting out on me, and I don't know if it's from my end or your end. So I got like the last little bit of what you said. So I hope our audience got it.
I did
Um,
too. I'd be happy to repeat it if you feel like we need to.
uh, um, I think they're probably getting the gist of it, right, Tyler? Like,
Yeah,
take ownership of your life. Create really, it's ultimately create love. No matter what your circumstances that comes into your life, figure out how you can show up to create love. And you might have to do some deep soul searching work in order to create that love, especially when betrayal and things like that have happened in your life. And we by no means, Tyler and I, by no means are saying your work is you figuring out how to show up weak to continue getting hurt and abused and taken
no,
advantage of. No, we're actually saying go do your work so you can be more effective in navigating these difficult circumstances that will help you get what you actually want, and work toward that if that's possible.
that's right. If I could just make it scriptural for just a second, Brannon, what you're saying is it goes along with that scripture that says, perfect love casteth out fear. So many of us are making relational decisions based from fear rather than from love. And the way that you get to perfect love, it goes along with that scripture in Matthew that says, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, might, mind, and strength. You have to know what those are to be able to love God that way. And then the
Mm-hmm.
second is like unto it, love thy neighbor as thyself, meaning your neighbor isn't better than you. You're not better than your neighbor. You're operating from a place of God's love because you know who you are. And when you know who you are, you're offering the best version of yourself to the people around you. And that might
Mm-hmm.
mean boundaries. Love might actually mean, I'm not going to let you keep hurting me this way. Right.
But Tyler, how that looks, whatever the boundaries are, um, your own work leads to, like Tyler said, your heart at peace. And so I might have distance and boundaries and do whatever I need to do in a relationship, but ultimately I'm accountable for how I show up in my heart toward others. And somebody can hurt me, they can manipulate me, they can abuse me, they can do all kinds of things, and it's still my work and my responsibility to figure out how to get my heart at peace. And as I do that work, I'll be strengthened. I'll become stronger. I'll know how to love more. I'll know myself better. And so that's on us, right?
That's right.
So
That's right. It's a good conversation today, Brannon. Thanks for sharing. I hope it makes sense. For those of you listeners who are here with us, thank you for being here. Hopefully this is helpful for you. We're so grateful that you're a part of our lives and that you're willing to share yourselves the way that you do with us. And if this is helpful to any of you, please share it with those people in your life that it might be impactful for as well. And until next time, you guys keep on keeping on.
see ya.